All right, guys, what's up? Spur here. We're back at it in run 8, and we're going to be finishing up our Wasco coal train run today, our 12,000 ton coal train. If you haven't watched the series, we started out in Barstow. It's 11,700 and some odd tons. I forget what. We ran it from Barstow over the Tehachapi Mountains, and now we're in Bakersfield. This thing's in a 4x3 setup, which was pretty typical for that train back in the day when it ran. You can see we got our 3 units in the bottom, and so we need to take this thing up to Wasco, right? You see we're in Bakersfield right here. Let's change it to symbol mode. There we go. So the bar WSS, this is us right here at Bakersfield. We need to take it up to Wasco, which is right here. Just a little, it's just a little bit, right? Like it's only, let's see what, this is 896 to the 911. So probably about 20 miles or a little less, something like that. But we got to take it to Wasco. And they generally, like, I've never heard of them running it with a DPU up to Wasco. I think they pretty much cut the DPU off at Bakersfield and then just ran it with the 4 head-in units the rest of the way to Wasco. So that's what we're going to do today. We've stopped short of this hand throw crossover right here, as you can see. There's a hand throw. So what we're going to do, the plan is we're going to cut the power off, cut these 3 big jacks off, tie them down. We're going to pull the train ahead and clear this crossover, and then we'll run these up and through the crossover and into the yard and clear them up somewhere. I don't know, like, I don't know if they have a shop track here or what. I don't know that much about it. I tell you guys all the time, I'm not really a West Coast guy, so I don't know much about it, but I was just looking to see if there were some shop tracks up here. This may be, yeah, we're not going to take them all the way up there. That would take us a hot minute. We'll probably just tie them down in this track right here. I think that'll be fine. And we'll look at our head-in power here. Yeah, that's all looking good. All right, let's go ahead and hop in real quick before we get started. Let's see, what do we got? Let's get the headlight going. We won't worry about the rear headlight. I think the grade's pretty flat right here, right? So the independent should hold it. Actually, I think what we'll do is we'll just draw it all the way down. Let's just draw it down. That's good. I think everything is okay. Let's get the windows open. All right, I think we're set. Let's go ahead and we'll shift F12 and go back to the rear. All right, here we go. Yeah, we stopped a little bit short of this crossing here because when we pull the train forward, we'll clear up for it. We'll let everyone go by because I'm sure we're probably getting cussed and flipped off right now. If it's anything like true to life, you probably are. People get really upset. Okay, all the handbrakes and everything are applied. You know what? I don't want to do that, though. Let's release them. Now they're released. Now let's tie this one. And we'll close the angle cock on both. There we go. We'll get this guy there. This guy there. Ah, yeah, we got to gotta take a little slack. That sucks. All right. Let's try this. Actually, let's go back. If I was thinking about it the other day, we would have tried to stop, you know, stop it bunch so we wouldn't have to do this, but it'll be all right. All right, let's release the brakes. We got it in reverse. I think it's looking good. We'll let it charge up a little bit and then we'll push on it some and we'll be good. Let's go ahead. Let's take that to MU. So they won't respond to our commands, right? We don't need them to do that. All right, that should be good. Let's push on it just a little bit. All right, she's starting to push on it. You see the coupler force go up just a little bit there. It's going to take it a minute to work it, bunch it up, right? It's going to take it a minute. Let's see. A little bit more. Just kind of hang out here and wait on it, right? Let's see what she's doing on this. Yeah, it's been a good trip. I really enjoyed it. You know, when we started out, we had a few issues with the DPU. This unit gave us problems for whatever reason. Our radio, our communication just dropped out, and there we go. All right, let's get up here and pull the pin, open the coupler. All right, let's take her forward. Do it nice and easy now that we got it all bunched up. Let's watch our graph again just for the heck of it. All right, now you see it's yellow, right? It's starting to pull all the slack out. Nice, there we go. All right, let's take him ahead. See if I can catch up on the bottom here. Oh, wouldn't let me do it. Why not? Come on. There we go. All right, let's go. Let's take him ahead to the switch. About 3 or 4. Just ease up there a few mile an hour. We don't have to get crazy with it, right? We just got to pull ahead a few cars. We'll get up here, we'll stop, we'll run the DPU through the crossover, the hand throw, we'll line it back. We'll tie down the DPU set in the yard somewhere, and then we have to come back and hang the EOT. That sort of thing. We may do like a little quick dump test on it or something. There we go. All right, that'll do right here. Let's go ahead and get them stopped. Draw down a little bit more. It's gonna take her a minute. She's really heavy, right? Almost 12,000 tons. I never forget one time I got called for a recrew out in the middle of nowhere. Went to this siding. This train was tied down on the main. They'd gotten a hot box, and they had a hot bearing probably about 80 something deep, and the crew had gone dead. Like, they're already running short on time, and then they got hit by that DD, and they had the hot box, and so that was pretty much it for them. So I got called as a relief job out there to it. And we show up. I'll never forget. It had a UP SD70. I think it had a solid UP consist. I want to say it did. It definitely had a UP SD70 on the head end. I do remember that. I want to say it was 3 units. All of them were UP. Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. I do remember that now because I remember some other things that happened with that trip too. So yeah. So the hot box was basically darn near on the bottom of let me see. Let me think. Where was that at? Okay, I take that back. It wasn't on the bottom. It was to the head end, and the switch that we had to set the car out on to be fixed was a facing point switch. And I want to say the car was just a little bit behind the head end, because what the problem was the train was about, it was a slop freight, right? And it was about 10,000 tons, give or take, 9,000 tons, something like that. So we had to cut our power off, run around the train to the end of it, tie onto it, drag it back up the main, then shove it in the siding to this. It was a pulpwood yard is where we were going to set this car out at. So we had to drag it down the main, and then we had to shove it in the siding, and we shoved it up to the pulpwood yard. So remember now, the hot box is towards the head end, right? So basically we pretty much had to hang on to the entire train to spot this car up in this pulpwood yard. Well, the problem is that the pulpwood yard was full of pulpwood cars. This is so like one of the last functioning yards that pulpwood yards that we had, or that I can remember, and it was full of pulpwood cars. We had room maybe for like 2 cars in that pulpwood yard. So, and I remember even the road foreman of engines came up and watched, and I was like, man, we got to grab this train. We got to hang on to like 8,000 tons and try to spot this bad order car in one little area that's big enough for maybe 2 cars. And the engineer I had wasn't like the greatest engineer ever. So it was like, man, this like the slacks all running in and out on the train, and it was a beast, right? It was a beast, and I'm like tying handbrakes on the car with a hot box and like other cars to give him a little something to kind of push against and not let, like, once we spotted it up and he stopped, I didn't want all the slack to run out and then run us into the pulpwood cars in front of us, right? So I'm like tying on handbrakes like crazy, like 4 or 5 handbrakes to kind of give him something to push against. And I don't think he could draw the air down and we could push on it there because it was kind of uphill, so that wasn't going to happen. So yeah, it was bad. And that's like another one of those situations where people don't really they don't think about that, right? Like that's something you don't really think about. All right, this is the head end. We're good with him. People don't think about that, like how hard it was to spot that one car up in that little bitty space, hanging on to that whole, like, it was a big ordeal. It was a huge ordeal to do that. And I think we wound up going dead too. I want to say we went 50 miles down the track and we went dead because we had to set the car out we had to set the bad order out. So that took us a hot minute to do that. And then we got on down the road and one of the UP engines, like the second or third out engine had some kind of problem, like it went offline. And so we wound up dragging up one of our grades at like 6 miles an hour. Like it was just a train wreck. It was like one thing after another that entire trip. All right, I think this guy's good. Let's go ahead. We'll release the independent. Actually, we'll release the air. Is he going to do it? Let's hop in. Let's see what's going on with this thing. PCS is it? Really? I could have swore. Why is the PCS open? Did we leave this open? I could have swore we closed it. Yeah, it's closed. Why is the PCS open? Right? It's oh, why is the bottom open? That's weird. That's completely weird. I don't know why. I don't know why that opened up. I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it unless someone got pissed off here at the crossing and went back there and opened it. But sometimes they pulled a pin on you, right? You stop blocking a road crossing. It has happened where people will go there and pull the pin, and then when you try to leave out with your train, the air goes down. So if you're blocking a crossing in a bad area, they used to tell us to be sure to stretch the train tight where they couldn't pull the pin. All right, I don't want to mess with all this. Let's just do shift F7. See what she's doing now. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. And headlight on brights. Through the rear, and I think we're good, right? I think we are. All right. Reverser forward. I gotta release that handbrake. Let's get that off. Well, she's not wanting to do it. Come on. Oh, it's in MU. Yeah, that's not right. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know. It's showing it's not showing it as lead, right? How can we fix this? I gotta figure out how to fix this real quick, guys. Just bear with me. Alright, it should be fixed now. I just went back and did auto MUDP, auto EOT. I just did all the things just to see if we could get it straight. It should be good now. Let's hop back in. Yeah, alright, it's no longer showing MU. Alright, let's blast off. We'll head into the yard real fast. All right, dude, you gonna stop? Yeah, we'll pull through this hand throw. We'll stop. We'll line it back, and then we'll go in the yard. Kill that bill. We don't need that. What's the grade here? I don't know. I think it's flat. I don't think there's much of any. There's like not hardly anything between here and Wasco as far as grades. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There we go. Let's hop off. Ease them to a stop here. We'll get this back real fast. Nice, that'll do. All right, get you back. Get that one back. All right, we're set on that. What do we got up here? We got all these hand throws. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and line all this. We'll say the U-Man did it for us, right? That was, I don't know if they still have utility men on the BNSF. It was a thing like they had it in East Thomas and Birmingham. Used to love the U-Man because he would he'd come out and line everything for us and make your cuts, like make your cuts and your double over sometime. So basically you didn't have to do anything. You just sat on the engine, right? It was really nice. All right, that's good there. Let's take them. Yeah, let's just take them up here. Get that one. All right, that should be good. Double check. Yeah, we good. All right, let's go. Yeah, U-Man was really nice. Enjoyed that. He's on up there about 10. Let's get on and let's go to that view. There we go. It's a little better there. Yeah, U-Man was nice. I like the U-Man, right? It made my job really super easy. Even though I like doubling over and making cuts and stuff like that. That wasn't a big deal. It really wasn't. It was part of it. Like, if you go to work for the railroad and you don't want to switch or do, like, make cuts and do all that basic stuff, then you don't have any business being out there. Like, just part of it. Like, you don't have to love it, but you still got to do it, right? I remember one time that the U-Man had to take shelter with us. We'd brought our pig into East Thomas and we got a tornado warning. Like the tornado sirens went off. It was really bad weather. It was super bad. Like it's really nasty. And lightning. It wasn't raining, but it was windy and lightning, and I don't think the rain had moved in yet. And I never forget the yard master came on and said they had a tornado warning, the sirens are going off, and everyone, you know, take shelter. And so the U-Man got on our engine with us, and I think a car knocker did too. It was several of us up there on the engine, on the lead engine. So I don't know how much, I mean, you know, how much good that would have done if we'd actually been hit by a tornado, right? Like, I mean, we wouldn't have gone anywhere, but my concern about like being on a train and hit by a tornado was like being debris, you know, debris thrown in the cab. You know, like I felt like I wasn't too sure like how good this sidewall right here was as far as like flying debris, right? I don't know like what the metal thickness was on that or anything, but I don't think it was impenetrable, right? Like if you got hit with an EF5, it probably would have been bad. Like we always said, get down in the nose, right? In the nose, you probably have a little better chance. I'm sure the metal is probably pretty thick down here. I really don't know. I don't know what the metal thickness is, but like you see images of, you know, 2x4s being stuck through trees and stuff like that during a tornado. So I was like, yeah, I mean, like, you're not going to go anywhere. It's not like it's going to pick the engine up and take you somewhere, but I don't even know if it would be able to roll it. Honestly, it might tip it on its side, but yeah, we had to take shelter. We had to take shelter until everything passed. I think it came a turd floater while we're sitting there. I want to say we were there for a while before we got the all clear. All right, let's go ahead and we'll take it on up here and tie it down. There we go. All right, we'll just ease up there at 10. Little over. So yeah, another thing you have to contend with, right? Storms and stuff like that. I don't know. East Thomas was, I liked to be an SF yard. Honestly, I liked working in and out of there. They always seemed really laid back and chill in that yard. Like it never was a problem. And I remember one time we took a train in there and they told us to cut our power off and take it to the house, to the shop there at East Thomas. I had taken it to and from the east side of the yard, but I'd never gone from the west side of the yard. And so I immediately told the yard master, I was like, yeah, I don't know how to get there from here, right? Like, I've never been that way. And he's like, oh, okay, it's not a problem. He's like, just pull forward through that crossover, line yourself back through, take the first switch to the right, go down that track, and then, like, he basically guided me down to the shop. And it wasn't a big deal at all. Like, they were really chill about it, where our guys might have been like, you've been railroading for how long and you don't know how to get down there? Like, I had a dispatcher tell me that one time because I didn't know how to get to a siding. We were a relief crew and we were on a taxi and we're trying to get to this siding in BFE, you know, middle of nowhere, and we're trying to get to the south end of this siding and we couldn't figure out how to get there to save our life. Like, you know, and it wasn't like, you know, you could get on your phone and look at Google Maps or anything. We didn't have that. So we called the dispatcher up and we're like, well, yeah, we're trying to get to it, but we can't figure out how to get to the siding. And he's like, you've been railroading for how long? And you don't know how to get to the south end of this siding? And I was like, I know how to get there by rail. I was like, I don't know how to get there by road. So, and the girl, it had some little young girl that was driving us. She sure enough didn't know. Like, she barely knew how to get around out there at all, right? Like, she didn't know anything about it. So, we called PTI, or the van service was called PTI, right? And they patched us through. They got us in touch with another van driver, and he knew how to get down there. Then he gave us directions on how to get into this siding, and it was like we had to take like a logging trail. We got stuck. We had to get out and push. Like, it was another big cluster, right? Like, it's always like that. Always like that. And we finally got down there, and then we had to walk a good ways to the head end because they didn't pull the train all the way down to the south end for some reason. I don't know why. So we had to walk with our bags, and yeah, it was great. It was great, right? But all right, let's hang our EOT. Come on. Is it not going to let me do it? Why can't I grab this coupler? That is weird. It's not letting me grab it at all, right? Oh, because it's not our train. Never mind. There we go. Spur, you got to grab the train first before you can do anything with it. Let's go up here and we'll grab the head end. I don't know if it matters if we grab it on the bottom or not, but we won't mess with that. Now let's go back here. There we go. Now we're good. All right, let's attach EOT. Open it partial. One of those air-driven EOTs. I think I only ever messed with one of those. Ours were always battery operated, and they were a pain in the butt too, man. All the time something. All right, I think that's good. Go ahead and open it up the rest of the way. We'll do a quick dump test on this thing. Let's go back here and let's close that one. Technically, you should be able to close it right here, just ahead of the OT, but it doesn't work in game for some reason, so you have to do it a car ahead. All right, let's see if we can do it. Did it drop? I don't know. We probably should have done that from the cab, right? Rear. What is your dump the air from the OT? I thought it was shift backspace. Maybe it's not. I'm gonna have to look that up. All right, left shift, left control backspace is what it is. All right, let's do that. Left shift, left control backspace. If we watch the rear, it'd go to 0, right? There we go. It dumped it to 0, so that's good. All right, let's go back there. We'll cut it back in. We could just teleport back there, right, if we wanted to, but we'll just fly. All right, so that's good. Let's open this guy back up. We'll do partial. Should be fine. Give it a second here so we won't dump the air. So it's recharging this car. That's why you see it going up. In fact, if we select it. Yeah, see it's coming up. Brake pipe. There you go. Now it's coming back down. Open it up the rest of the way. Nice, good to go. I don't know why we're in N1. Alright, back to the head end. What do we got here? This showed her moving around a little bit, but she can't be. We got the air drawn down. I don't know why she was doing that. Alright guys, I think we're good. I think we're ready to blast off finally. It's taking us a minute to go through this, but it's true life, right? Let's go back to this. We should be good through here. What is our radio through here? 8451. We'll go to that. Channel 84. Let's get auto going. Channel 8484. There we go. See what he says. He's already got us a light unless he takes it down. Sometimes they'll take it down when you start him up. See what he says. That's from Bakersfield Tower there. Over. All right, acknowledged. I guess we're good to go. You know what? See, you know, signal indication, so we need to ease on down there. Okay, we're good with that. Let's release the air. All right, nice. We'll blast off, guys. We'll be on our way. Bottom's moving. We're good on that. I don't know what our next light is, to be honest. We'll say we changed crews, right? Like, we're the inbound crew. We did all that. I guess the outbound could have done it. It depends on how much time they got left, right? Like, sometimes they don't. So we'll have to we'll let auto run us a little bit, and then we're going to have to manually manipulate it a little bit because we got to go in at Wasco. We don't go past that. Yeah, I don't know. What is our next light? Gomez. Yeah, I don't know where that's at. I don't know where Gomez is at. We'll see. So yeah, we'll take this guy up to We'll take them up to Wasco. We'll put them in the storage track. We'll tie it down. We'll cut the power off. I don't know if we're going to run the power back or not. We talked about that, running it back light. Like, I don't think they would leave it just sitting up there for days on end. I mean, never say never, right? It is the railroad, but I would think they would probably run it back light. It's a fresh crew. They probably have plenty of time. Run it back light. They could leave it and let another, like a southbound or a northbound, pick it up if they needed to, right? I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. I don't know how they do it in real life, but if we got time, we'll run it back. But I mean, we've already jumped like almost 30 minutes into it, just doing that move back there. So probably not. Probably not. We'll probably just end it up there. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways. Personally, if I was running the power desk of Spur, I would have them bring it back light because, like I said, it's a fresh crew. They tied it down, they could run it back light really easy, and then they could use it for whatever. And then when the train is finally unloaded and ever how many days it takes them to do it, then you could either run power up there to it, right? You could just run the crew would go on duty here. They take their engines up there light, they grab the empty train and then head back south. Or you have another train drop power off. If you, I mean, like I said, there's so many different ways you could go about doing it. But I would imagine it would take them several days to unload this thing because they have to unload it one car at a time. Like they have to spot it up on the dumper and then unload it and then spot the next one up and unload it. So it could take, it could potentially take a little while, right? At least a day. I don't know, a day or two maybe. It depends on the crew, right? I remember I used to have, we have to unload grain trains and we could get them done. Like as the inbound crew, if you got a pretty decent trip, you would go into the grain elevator and you would start unloading, and you could get a little bit of it unloaded and then you would go dead. It just depended, like, you know, how much time you had left by the time you got there. I never unloaded the whole train. Like I only got a few cars into it and then you would go dead and then they call a relief job and they would come out there and unload it. And it was kind of an ordeal too because it was on a steep hill, like going down into the grain elevator. And so we weren't able to spot the cars up accurately on the dumper hanging onto the whole train. So what we would do is we would leave it up the hill, cut off 10 cars, go down, unload the 10 cars one by one, right? Shove back to the train, grab 10 more cars. And so then we would go back to the dump with the dumper with like 10 empties and 10 loads, dump those loads, go back to the train, get 10 more. So then we would have 10 loads and 20 empties. And then, you know, we'd kind of do it that way. But usually it took a little bit. I've heard of 2 or 3 crews having to do that before. It just depends on if they run into any issues, right? So I don't know. You know, it's a private switcher there. I don't know how eager they would be to unload it or if they would even be able to, right? There's so many variables. Like there's so many variables involved in this stuff. You know, I used to take coal trains to this place called Wilsonville, and it's sometimes the plant, like the coal plant just wasn't ready for us. Like they just literally did not want you. You would be there, but they would not be ready for you for whatever reason. And so literally you would sit there for like 8 hours and go dead just waiting on them to like take you into the coal plant. It wasn't like you could just roll up and be like, hey, we're here, let's dump. Like, no, it never worked out that way. You had to call them and they would tell you if they were ready for you or not, and have you come down in there. And that coal plant was served by us in the NS, so the NS may be in there dumping their train too. And if they were dumping your train, then your day was done. Like there was no way that you were going to dump that train. But it's just like I said, it's a lot of variables that go into that kind of stuff, you know, logistics and being ready. I remember when I did OJT down at what is that yard called? West Jacks. We did a week of OJT down in West Jacks when I hired out. And you would all the time see the Boswick coal train like tied down in West Jacks, and it would be tied down because they weren't ready for them to go unload. So like I said, there's a ton of variables that go into that. It's not just cut and dry, right? All right, gotta figure out where this signal's at. Like I said, dispatcher said come down here, signal indication. You know, I always stress that more than anything else. Just because he says come on, signal indication does not mean you got a light. You better ease down there. I'm trying to figure out where is it at. Right there, got a flashing yeller. All right, let's go. What's that? Approach medium. That reminds me of the video out of Wellington, Kansas of the BNSF crew on a Transcon. I don't know if some of you guys have seen it. It circulated several years ago, several years ago. Like 2012-ish, maybe something like that. And it's the forward-looking camera from the cab that you get to see every once in a while, right? But usually those videos aren't made publicly available. And they had the crew came in, right, and the inbound crew, and they swapped crews at Wellington. The outbound crew came on. The dispatcher, I guess they called him up, and he said, "Come on, signal indication." Was double main through there. They knew that there was a train on the northbound main, so they pull on down to the next crossover. Like they were just going, like they didn't even go down there looking out. And the next thing you know, they came around the curve, and it was foggy too, so that really like restricted their visibility. They go down there and they have a stop signal, and that train that was actually on the northbound main was in fact crossing over from the other main to the northbound main right there, and they didn't realize that, and they almost got into the side of them. Like they stopped, like just, man, it looked like it was literally feet away from hitting that other train because they didn't go down there looking out, you know. So something you got to be careful about, you know. I mean, it's a game, you don't have to worry about it, and no one going to get hurt, but we had, I remember when I worked, we had a crew get run off for a while because the yard master told them to come on to Tilford, and but they hadn't talked to the dispatcher, and dispatcher didn't have a light, so they blasted off from the road crossing that they were supposed to hold at, called Chapel Road. Yard master said come on to Tilford because you couldn't pass Chapel Road unless the yard master told you to. You have to call them on the radio. So he said, come on to Tilford. They blasted off. They went around the curve there. There's a 1% grade down. They went around the curve and they had a stop signal. They shot them, but they still went by the signal, a few cars. And so this is another example. Like the yard master told him to come, but he didn't have any control over those signals, the dispatcher. So they either should have gone down there looking out, prepared to stop, or they should have called the dispatcher and found out if he was ready for them or not. Even then, even if they'd called the dispatcher and said, yeah, yard master told us to come on, you got us the light, he'd been like, yeah, come on, signal indication. You still got to go around there looking out because you never know. Like I said, what's on his board? And this has happened plenty of times, right? Plenty of times I've had this happen to me. The dispatcher be like, why aren't y'all moving? And I'm like, we're sitting here looking at a red. And he's like, well, I'm sure I've got you lined up. Well, no, not here. Not where we're at. It's not lined up. It may show on your board, right? You maybe, you know, green as green can be or lined up or whatever. But for us, we weren't lined up. So, you know, it happens. It happens. This is a real thing. All right, what's our speeds? 55. Little bit of a grade here. But like I said, in the end, it's a game, right? Like you can take it as serious as you want to. I kind of do a mix, right? Like I take it semi-serious on some things, not so serious in other. I don't dive into the rules like crazy, you know, realistic or anything like that. Like some of the stuff, I don't, but it just depends, right? All right, next light. Got it clear, sweet. All right, these guys lined up. So we good to go. We shouldn't have to worry about any kind of speed restrictions or anything. There's a curve up here I think it's got a speed restriction on it, but it's like we won't get fast enough for that. In fact, what does it say? This is it. This might be it coming up right here. 65 and 70. Yeah, that's not a thing for us. What is this crossover right here? What is that? Jastro. Okay. No meets lined up. Like I said, after we met that last Z train at Caliente, there's like a 4-hour lull for traffic, like southbound traffic, so we don't have to worry about that. See what our train stats look like now as far as HPT. 1.5. So we were 2.7 with the DPU, right? 2.7, 1.5 now, so. Shouldn't be too bad. We'll get there. We'll make it there. We'll see what our time looks like. Yeah, we won't come back light engine. If you guys want to, like, if y'all want to run the engines back light on another video, we can do that, or we can move on to something else at some point. But, like I said, there's a lot of different ways we could play that out. Get that alerter there. A little bit of a downhill here. This is the end of the double main. Got another clear. What is this place called? I'm not familiar with it. Lopez. Okay. Little bit of a downhill. 0.41. Not too bad. Yeah, it's been a fun train. It's been a fun train to run. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is my kind of running. I love running in the comfort of your home, right? Like I left the railroad like let's see. I left in late July and we got called up to engine service. My group, they started calling them up in November. So August, September, October. So about 3 or 4 months before I would have gotten called to engine service. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it one bit, really. Like, I mean, it would have been cool to have been an engineer, but the thing about that was if I had gone to engine service, I would have gone all the way to the bottom of the roster just about, right? And seniority on the engineer side moved way slower than the conductor side. Like by the time I left, I was able to hold jobs that some of the old heads couldn't hold in 25 years. So it just gives you a little bit of an idea. And I was already like really unhappy with the railroad, more like the politics and the things that you had to go through. Just, you know, it just like having to fight for your money and argue with them, and then turning on your rest all the time, day after day after day after day, turning on your rest. This is before they had assigned days off on the pool job, right? Like you just went until you marked off sick. So I was tired of that, and like I said, I didn't want, you know, or at least a few of the old heads I work with, is like, if you're gonna pull the pin, do it before you get too invested, right? And so I did, and I don't really regret not being an engineer. You know, I get to do it on here, and it's plenty fun to me on here to be able to do it like as you want to, however you want to, and not have to deal with all that other stuff. And this is pretty this is pretty accurate. It really just is. It is by far the most accurate representation of railroading that I've ever done. Come back out and throttle a little bit here. All right, we got to see, where does he have us line to? I'll go to the other side here. We need to change our radio channel too. We need to do 55-45, right? Yeah, 55-45. We'll do that. 55-55. A little bit fast on this here. Should be alright. We can run her a little fast. It's not the end of the world. She'll slow up on us a little bit here. Yeah, she looks like she's slowing up now. We're good. No, someone asked me on TikTok how you become a conductor, right? Well, it's hard for me to answer that question because it's 20 years ago for me. And like, I had to go to a school. Went to a school. You paid, I think it was $4,500 to go to this school for 6 weeks. And at the end of the school, if you did good, if you got good grades and all that stuff, then you weren't guaranteed to be hired. But I never knew of anyone that wasn't hired, right? Like, and then you get hired, and then you do so many months of cubbing. I can't remember how long we cubbed. Maybe it was 2 months, something like that. Well, yeah, we went to school for 6 weeks. Went to Jacksonville for at least a week. It may have been 2, but I think it was a week. Where we did OJT down at West Jacks. We basically just switched cars down there. I guess that would kind of be comparable to the Ready Center if they still have it now, maybe. But yeah, it was completely different back then. Completely different. I would just say, like, if you're going to work for the railroad, ideally, you need to be single. If you got a family, be prepared to be gone all the time. And it may be different now. I don't know. But be prepared to be gone all the time. You know, single is ideal, right? Single is ideal. You got a wife and kids, it's going to be hard for sure. All right, there we go. Nice. We rolling. Excuse me. I think at this point we're going to we're going to turn the auto DS off. We're going to line ourselves through to Wasco. We'll see. I think actually we'll do it that because the storage track is just north of the switch to the siding, I think. Yeah, definitely be prepared to be gone. Be prepared to be gone. Like I said, I held pool jobs more than anything else, right? The freight pool, and that's just like you run between 2 terminals. A lot of different trains. And when I did it back then, there weren't assigned days off. I think the pools have assigned days off now, but back then they didn't. I could be wrong. I think they do now, but back then we didn't have anything, right? You just ran and ran and ran and ran and ran until you marked off sick. And the way I kind of played the system a little bit was I would get like, I'd get about 6 trips in a half, and then I would mark off on like a Tuesday, Wednesday. Mark off sick on a Tuesday, Wednesday. You were way more likely to be off, to be able to successfully mark off on a Tuesday, Wednesday and not get in trouble and like them not say anything at all, right? They didn't care because there wasn't much going on Tuesday, Wednesday. They wanted you there like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on the weekend because that's when we moved the most freight, right? So yeah, I would mark off, I think it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes a Monday, Tuesday, about every other week is what I would do. And that was the only time off you had. And then other than that, like, you were turning on your rest consistently, at least at home. At home, that's what used to aggravate me, is that you would turn on your rest at home like no tomorrow. I would literally come home, sleep 6 hours, you know, get up, get a shower, get cleaned up or whatever, and then like be called and have to go right back. But we would go to the away terminal and you would lay over in that motel for like 20 hours, 24. I think the longest I ever laid over in a away motel was 27 hours. And it used to aggravate me so bad. And I just got married, and so like it got to the point where my wife would come up to the motel at the away terminal. Like, we spent more time together there than we did at the home terminal because we would just stay up there so much.
DNSS detector milepost 900.0, ambient temperature 92 degrees.
92, nice. 92 degrees outside. Yeah, we had crews would literally like call the crew caller up at the away terminal and try to get taxied back home because they'd be laying over so long. Just part of it, right? It may be completely better now. It's hard to say, right? It's been a long time. So, like I always say, take what Spur says with a grain of salt, because I can't tell you, for certain. Trying to think, is there any other questions people have asked? Let's see. Let me see if I can find some viewer questions here real quick while we... Viewer comments. Other day, I did a post the other day on the channel, said, getting close to 7,000 subs, right? Like, we're about 200 and change away. I definitely thank you all. Everyone that has subbed and watched the channel, I really do appreciate it. Like I said, it blows my mind. Like, every day, I'm like, man, I've got like... And I mean, I know to a lot of people, they're like 7,000 subs isn't anything, right? But to me, it's a big deal. And that's like more than double all the people that live in my county right now. But someone said, I've been loving this channel since you had around 600 subs. Glad to see the channel grow. That was from I Love the Fire Department. I really appreciate that. That's another comment that really blows my mind, you know, someone being here and watching regular since 600 subs. I do appreciate that. Hudson said you get to 10K, no worries. What else we got? JTSJ said, you're welcome. Keep the great content coming. Congratulations. Appreciate it, man. Thank you all. Thank you all. I really do. Gerald Jackson said, I'm not an engineer, but based on my carrier experience as a professional aviator and operator of equipment outside of aviation, I was simply... Okay, he's talking about the DPU problem we had. Because I asked you guys, like, how would y'all fix that? He's basically saying just, like, reset the engine, turn it off and turn it on, right? Like, that's... Try turning it off and turning it around. Like, you worked in IT, didn't you? Because that's like the ideal IT answer, right? Is like turn something off. And that's what I tell my kids all the time. When something tears up with them and it's not working right, I'm like, just turn it off. That's like the dad answer, right? The dad IT answer. But yeah, the way we fix that is we just, and he suggested that, is just change the lead, right? The DPU lead, and we did that. We changed it to another engine, so that worked out. What else we got here? Terry Wills said, love the manual Q on Rescue 2. My fire department has one of the tankers. She made a comment on one of our old Emerge NYC videos. Yeah, it was an Everyone Goes video. What else we got here? 5-Star Gamer says, I haven't seen Emerge in a while. Wondered what happened, but here it is. Glad to see it back. Great job as always. Yeah, we'll play some Emerge from time to time. We won't play it nearly as much My biggest deal with a merge, right? Of course, it's still got some issues and bugs and things I'd like to see fixed. It is what it is, right? Like, I mean, you could sit there and sweat it all the time, or you could just move on and deal with it, right? Like, sweating it and like mulling over it isn't going to help. It's going to make you it's going to stress you out, right? So I don't sweat it. It is what it is. But more than anything with a merge, I just want to see new fires. Like, we roll up on all those fires so many times for 178 videos worth of fires now, and it's always the same thing, right? Like, if anything, I would like to see like packs of new like, even if it was DLC for a few dollars and says it adds 10 more fires, right? I would have been about that. $2 for 10 more fires, I would have been all about that. But, you know, like I said, it is what it is. But we'll play it. We'll play it from time to time. It's just we're not going to do it hardcore like we did in the past. We're going to do some other stuff. Go through this crossing here. Try to do these comments and run here. NJ Fire Department said, we haven't seen this in a while. This is for Merge NYC. Engine and truck first due 0919 1120 St. Marks. Speedy says hi. Hi, Speedy. How you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a long time. I know you've been watching for a long time on here. Alan Notice said, Andre the Giant was my favorite back in the 70s. He replied to a video that I did a long time ago, trucking in Greensboro, North Carolina, ATS. I was talking about wrestling. Like, I'm a wrestling, like an old school wrestling fan. I like wrestling back in the days. I don't really watch it so much now, but that's what he's talking about, Andre. I remember that. I remember when I was in school when Hulk Hogan wrestled Andre the Giant at WrestleMania. I didn't get to watch it, of course. I didn't get to watch it, but I remember being like that night. I was like, oh man, I wonder if the Hulkster's going to win. Is he going to beat Andre, right? Like, what's going to happen with that? Is Andre going to kill him? You know, as a kid, like, he didn't know. You believed all that stuff, right? All I wanted to do is watch wrestling and drop elbows on my pillow. Like, that was my thing. All right, this should be Shafter right here. Someone else said, Christian Roan says, I think AI are listening to program the minivan to be faster than the Beetle. He's talking about the minivan and the Beetle that are, especially the Beetle. The Beetle's like all the time, like flying across the crossing in front of you. J Gab, a few days ago, he left a comment. Like, a lot of these I haven't had a chance to get to. He said, what are hogbacks and alligators? Great videos, by the way. That was on a video I did, Run 8, on the Fitz, called Extreme Hogbacks, Alligators, and Derailments on the Fitzgerald sub. Let's explain that title a little bit, because it's probably kind of confusing if you didn't really watch the video I explained. But, of course, a hogback is just a raise in the track profile, right? It's a little hill. It's just a little short, steep hill, you know, like a hogback. And it's usually like a hogback is something that your entire train could be draped across in one go, right? Like, it's not a big long grade. It's just a little steep hill, right? A lot of times you have sags and hogbacks. You'll have a sag goes down, a hogback comes up. It's just rolling terrain, right? An alligator. In that video, I was talking about at the south end of Rebecca, there used to be an alligator that laid out on the left-hand side of the tracks on the ballast from time to time. I never saw it. Lots of guys talked about it. I don't know. Maybe they were jacking with me, but everyone used to talk about the alligator down at Rebecca. So that's what we were talking about. And then I think I told a story about one of the engineers I worked with had a derailment down at the south end of Rebecca. User -NE3XN said, hi from Virginia, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm a Run 8 newbie and I watched most of your Run 8 videos and some of your trucking videos. Absolutely love your Run 8 videos and commentary. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very, very much. I really do. You guys don't know like how much that means. It absolutely makes my day when people enjoy the content, right? Like, I absolutely love it. It's great. So that's a few of the comments. We won't get into all of them. We won't get into all of them. We'll keep rolling here. We keep rolling. I haven't been watching the signals. I don't know how far out we are. We may be getting kind of okay, there we go. Flashing yellow. Let's see. This is going to be the south end is going to be yellow. So yeah, we need to all right, yeah, we need to do something here. Let's grab a little air. Because we kind of got to stop on the south end of the siding. It's just a little bit past the switch. So that's what we're going to do. We got our approach medium on the distant. Coming up on an hour right now. Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a longer video, but it'll be all right. Yeah, a little bit of a longer video. All right, I think the south end is just up here past these trees, right? Like you go up here and there's another curve back to the right, and then the south end is like right over there. All right, let's let go of the air. We'll go in dynamics now. Actually, no, let's hang out a minute here because it's still slowing down pretty good. What's our grade? Pretty much flat. All right, now let's see about going in dynamics. Trying to time it out, right? Like, I don't want to just drag around there over there to it. Let's go in dynamics. Try to gather it up easy, right? There's a lot of weight behind us. It's a nice little trip. It's not very far at all. It's a good run. Who knows? Maybe the Barstow crew. I really think they cut the DPU off in Bakersfield. It could be the Barstow crew running all the way through. I'm not really sure, but all right, let's draw it down again here. Where is... All right, there's our storage track right there. A little bit more air. See what that does. That's weird. It didn't. The dynamics didn't belt off the locomotive brake. That is weird. It should have bailed that off. Yeah, I don't know why. All right, let's drag it on down. I don't know. Spur may have goofed up. We may go. Yeah, it's not bailing it off. Why is that not? Why is it not bailing it off? That's really odd. That's really odd. It should bail it off automatically when you're in dynamic. It should totally do that unless we had another failure. Was that the isn't that the dynamic brake interlock? Like, Isn't that what that is? I think so. Yeah, I don't know why it's not belling it off. That's weird. It should totally bell it off. All right, let's go ahead. We'll come out of dynamics here. Let's go ahead and do full independent. And let's fly up here. We'll get our switch. There's our train. Not bad, right? There we go. Our self-lined in. And I want to make sure we're clear. Nah, yeah, the previous train is in here. Get rid of him. Yeah, I forgot to delete these out. It isn't going to matter. Yeah, it's not going to matter, but... So this is our storage track. We'll pull it into right here. It should pull it. Yeah, it should clear up the whole way. It should clear up the whole way. So let's hop in. We're back forward a little bit. Release the brakes. Come out on the throttle. A little bit of an uphill here. We don't want her to roll out on us. What's she doing? She moving? Yeah, she's good. Try to get that bottom moving. There we go. All right, we're good. All right, let's pull her into clear into siding. We're 4755 now. I think we're 4,900 feet with a DPU. Now we're 4755. Or it's probably only 15-mile-an-hour track, I'm guessing. Yeah, 15. Let's hit our counter. We'll count it off. We just want to make sure we got her in the clear, right? Like, we'll pull on down. We'll just see how it plays out. Like, where we can stop. So basically, Wasco, if you look at it in real life, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. Like, it's got these tracks over here, and then it's got the dumping shed, and then it's got some big, like, covered silos. They look almost like corn silos to me, but they're actually for coal, right? It's all covered. It's all contained. So they dump it and they store it in those silos, and then they have a truck load out and they load it in trucks, and then they truck it the rest of the way to wherever they take it there in Kern County. I can't remember where, but yeah, it's trucked out of here. It's kept in those silos. Pretty cool. And all the, you know, that's one thing, like, always, people always think about coal in terms of like lump coal and stuff like that. I can tell you the coal that we hauled to the power plant, it was like dirt. It was literally like a crushed, like a fine crushed coal. It was like dirt. Like, it got everywhere. I hated going in there because you get all over your shoes and your pants. Like, you would just be covered in it. Because when we would dump it, you would have to go down in the conductor would have to sit in the dump shed, right? Like, on that, you dumped it on this big long bridge, and it was just a rolling dump kind of deal. Though, like, a large majority of the time, it didn't work right, but. So yeah, by the time you were done, you looked like you'd been working in a coal mine. Like, it was literally everywhere, the dust and everything. It was so bad. But yeah, it was like a dirt in a way. It wasn't lump coal. I don't know what they took here. I would imagine, since it's stored in silos like that, that it's like the dirt too. It's not like lump coal. Like I said, take what I say with a grain of salt. It could be completely different. All right, I think we should be able to stop short of this road crossing here and we'll be good. Yeah, we're at 3,000 feet, so we've got, what, 1,700 more to go? We should ideally be able to stop short of that switch down there. We'll see. Hopefully so. It's not a big deal. You see, that's the size. Yeah, that's pretty, like, it's not exact, but that's pretty close to the way it is in real life. They did a good job on this. The power plant we dumped at, it was all kept outside, right? Like, it's just a big pile. Like, you had the dump bridge that you would go across, and it had contacts on the side of the cars, and when these contacts touched these things on the dump bridge, the doors would just open up real fast and it would dump out, and then they would close and it would go into the next one. And sometimes, like, it would do multiple cars. Like, they could set it up how they wanted it to do, and they could get it to dump at different parts of the bridge too. So if they wanted to dump further down the bridge, like, they may start out at the head end of the bridge, and then later on they would have it dumping at the end of the bridge, and then bulldozers would be pushing the coal out from under the bridge into either the storage pile, or they had a big, like, underground auger deal that they could push it into. So it was a cool operation when it worked right, but sometimes it was a pain. Yeah, we're about to be in the clear. Only about 400 feet. Start feathering independent here a little bit. What I like to do is just on and off, on and off, on and off. Like, if you watch it on there, you see it just barely doing anything. You felt the slack run in, like we bunched it up a little bit, and then now we're just kind of... Yeah, we're really close. We're really close to it. We'll try to go a little further here. The power may not fit here, but, like, that should be cut off anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. It really don't matter. There we go. All right, we're good. That should be it right there. All right, go ahead and go full independent. We'll stop her right here. Let's go look at the bottom real quick. We're not going to worry about setting her up because we may, like, I got to make sure we got spotted up right. Yeah, perfecto. Perfecto, we got it. Okay, let's get this switch here. We'll close it back. That was weird. Was that the slack rolling back out a little bit? Maybe, I don't know. So yeah, we're locked up in the clear here at Wasco. You call dispatcher up, you'd be like, yeah, 4148 locked up in the clear at Wasco. We got here. We'll draw some air down. There we go. Good enough. Actually, let's do that headlight too. There we go. Got that. Let's get some handbrakes. I can't remember when you tie it down. Is it 15 pounds or 20? It may be a 20-pound reduction. I honestly can't remember. That handbrake. We'll get a few more on here. All right, that should be good enough. We're not going to figure it up exactly, but that should be good enough. 5 cars and 3 engines should be fine. See, that's like 10%. 10% of the train. Or not quite. Yeah, not quite with the power. Actually, you know what? We'll do 10% of the train with cars. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 10% plus 3 engines. We'll call that good. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's good enough for us. All right, guys, that's going to do it. We finished it up. We're a little over an hour, so yeah. We won't run this thing back light, but we could do that. There's a lot of different ways that they could go about doing that. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed. Love all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the rails next time. Peace. Powerful. I don't think. What was that? Oh, it was horrible. Slam on the brakes. If you're not sitting down, you are now. What? No, big cat. No, stop. Oh no, no, kitty, go.